Good evening and welcome to the main news coming to you live from our Pocket Hill studios. I am Tariro Manamike. We also have Peaceway Jomunika at our sign language desk. Later on, we'll be crossing over to our Montrose studios where Marilyn Benya is on standby to give us part of the bulletin.
It is great to have you along. My name is Butler Nipure. These are tonight's top stories.
President Emmerson Mnangagwa launches Zimbabwe media policy. The government and Zesa Holdings collaborating to restore Wang Thermal Power Station Unit 5. And in our Art News, Courtney Jongwe makes it to the top 20 Miss World Multimedia Challenge in India. Later on in sport, Warriors captain Marvelous Nakamba speaking on youngsters, urging them to launch their international careers at the 2025 COSAFA Cup. But let's start with tonight's top story. President Emmerson Mnangagwa says the new media policy will direct all media practitioners to tell the true Zimbabwean story, both at home and abroad, without fear or favor. Well, the president was speaking at the launch of the Zimbabwe media policy that was held at State House in Harare today. Our chief correspondent Ruben Barwe was there and he gives us our very first report.
The Zimbabwe media policy has been launched by the President of the Republic, Comrade Emmerson Mnangagwa today. He underscored the importance of journalists to love their country, to be patriotic, to refuse becoming pawns of external games. That a time when journalists would stampede to demonize their country will not happen again under his watch.
My government regards both our public and private media as strategic cogs towards achieving our national development aspirations and Vision 2030. It is my expectation that the sector functions as the symbolic eye and the mirror of society, providing an honest and grounded reflection of our realities. This role should never be taken lightly. The past trends where media practitioners competed for prominence on the degree to which they demonized our country has no place in Zimbabwe. We fought for. We are building the Zimbabwe we all want, including the media. The role of the media towards mobilizing resources, fostering innovation, and creating an environment conducive for investors to set up businesses as we march forward towards an upper middle income economy is applauded.
He also touched on signature projects which have been made and publicized by journalists, that they are a key cog in the developmental thrust of this country.
Artificial intelligence is undoubtedly revolutionizing all aspects of our social and economic sectors, with the media industry being no exception. Artificial intelligence has reshaped information gathering, analysis, production, and dissemination. These and other related innovations in science and technology have collectively increased the speed, interactivity, and reach of journalism, while also presenting new opportunities and challenges. These relate to accuracy, ethics, and information overload, among others.
The president also touched on the importance of news dispensation that unites a country, unites a people in their diversity.
The time has come for the world to hear the authentic story of who we are and what we stand for. from our own eyes, from our own mouths, and from our own media, and the people of our own motherland. The Zimbabwean story is one of hard work, resilience amid adversity, such as the illegal sanctions and the climate change. It is the narrative of the people's victory for our independence, our sovereignty, as well, exposing and shaming our country's detractors. The true and undiluted Zimbabwean story is about us, the people, who are masters of our own destiny. The media must influence Zimbabwe's national brand and strategic image in a manner that reflects these core characteristics. Further, I challenge our media to be also aware of the role it plays in advancing our national interests within the Committee of Nations through purposeful and focused engagements guided by our foreign policy.
On another hand, the president said, as we launch this media policy, it is important to know that the media in this country, with its multiplicity, is there to capture the cultures and ethos of our people. On a parting note, the president said, remember, this country came out of an armed liberation struggle which was quite brutal, and that guides our revolution up to date. And journalists must tell the Zimbabwean story using Zimbabwean people, genuine Zimbabwean people. This narrative of telling the Zimbabwean story by Zimbabweans is the surest way to development. This time is now, said the head of state. Ruben Barwe, ZBC News, State House, Harare.
Meanwhile, stakeholders say the Zimbabwe media policy, which has been long overdue, will contribute towards developing a vibrant media industry that contributes significantly to economic growth anchored on promoting the country's values, interests and identity.
The Zimbabwe media policy is aimed at promoting a vibrant, diverse and independent media sector anchored on 6 strategic pillars. These include economic sustainability, digital transformation and innovation, media development and capacity building, media sovereignty and regulation, access to information and knowledge, and local content promotion. According to the Minister of Information, Publicity and Broadcasting Services, Dr. Jennifer Mswere, these pillars will enable the media to defend the country's image, sovereignty and territorial integrity while transforming the media's landscape through development of modern, efficient and sustainable infrastructure.
This policy speaks to the image of our country, the digital footprints, the responsibility that each and every Zimbabwean, as espoused by His Excellency the President, that each and every Zimbabwean has a role to defend, to advance, to protect the image of our country. That each and every Zimbabwean has a collective responsibility to contribute towards Vision 2030.
Stakeholders believe the milestone achievement is set to transform the media landscape for the better.
This is probably what you would call a new beginning. We have always been clamoring for a policy that directs the sector.
With regards to the introduction of AI, I think that's where the whole media sector is going globally, and Zimbabwe is also joining the rest of the world in how we can utilize the advancement in technology to promote good communication, but also we need to be careful and clear that we are fact-checking.
That is the future of this country. So it is paramount that the media landscape, actually artificial intelligence, be introduced and be part of the revolution that is taking place across the world.
This speaks volumes. It's a giant leap. It's a massive achievement, and we are indeed very grateful.
The media policy covers the framework, strategic pillars and policy guidelines, general policy issues such as creation of a media fund, co-regulation, quality assurance, sexual harassment in media houses, and general policy issues pertaining to foreign journalists, among others. Implementation of the policy framework will require formation of thematic working groups, coordination structure of a media sector interministerial committee, a media sector steering committee, and resource mobilization. Prisca Wanda, SBC News, Harare.
Now, President Emmerson Mnangagwa has declared the Kwekwe accident, which claimed 12 lives on Tuesday, a national disaster. The move paves way for government to assist in the burial of the accident victims as well as offer support to the hospitalized. In his condolence message, the president said his heart goes out to the bereaved families who lost their loved ones in the horrific accident. He also noted that more still needs to be done to arrest the ever-spiraling fatalities on the country's roads. The head of state said safe traffic conduct is the duty of all road users, imploring the public to support law enforcement agencies to tame the traffic jam by calling out reckless road users.
Vice President General retired Dr. Constantino Chiwenga says Zimbabwe is intensifying collaborations with Tajikistan in key areas that are vital to adapting to climate change, particularly hydropower development, sustainable agriculture, as well as effective water management.
The meeting, which took place at the Presidential Palace, focused on strengthening bilateral ties and exploring areas of cooperation between the two countries. The meeting highlighted renewable energy as a key area of collaboration, with Vice President Chiwenga accompanied by Zimbabwe's Energy and Power Development Minister, Honorable Julai Moyo, emphasizing Tajikistan's global leadership in hydropower generation as a potential model for partnership.
Zimbabwe and the Republic of Tajikistan have come closer and closer in the areas from our political cooperation, our diplomatic, and now we are going into the economic sphere. Remember, this is our second visit discussing issues of economic cooperation, and now quite a number of memorandums of understanding are in the offing, and quite soon they will all be finalized. But we are looking into in the areas of energy. Tajikistan is quite renowned for green energy. Currently, they are being ranked number 6 in the world, and when they complete this, the dam under construction, they will be number 4. So this is an area of interest to Zimbabwe, because no country can develop without energy.
Beyond energy, agriculture is another priority area for cooperation.
Tajikistan has experience in a number of areas where we would want to cooperate with them. And tourism. Those are some of the areas that we have discussed, but we have discussed quite a number, in our cooperation on the international forum. We have discussed all those issues. And he has given his deep greetings to our President, His Excellency Dr. Emmerson Mnangagwa, and is inviting him here to Tajikistan so that most of all the issues we have discussed can actually be implemented with speed.
Vice President Chiwenga acknowledged Tajikistan's expertise in sustainable farming, irrigation techniques, and high-altitude crop management, all of which are relevant to Zimbabwe's evolving agricultural strategy amid shifting climatic conditions. This meeting marks a promising step towards a stronger Zimbabwe-Tajikistan partnership, one built on mutual interest. Abigail Tembo, ZBC News, Dushanbe.
Well, the government's commitment to resolve its national debt and arrears was demonstrated at the ongoing annual general meeting of the African Development Bank in Abidjan, Cote d'Ivoire, with the Presidential Land Tenure Implementation Program receiving huge support.
The high-level Davos-style side meeting in Abidjan showcased the Second Republic's diplomatic prowess as top-level international dignitaries were bidding for Zimbabwe's commitment to resolve its debt and arrears issues to an audience of creditors, investors, financiers, and civic groups. Champion for Zimbabwe's arrears clearance and debt resolution program and outgoing ADB President Akinwumi Adesina widely touted the presidential title deed program as a huge demonstration to commitment to repay debts.
The titles were actually 99-year leases, and now they've turned it into full title deeds. And just a week ago, I had a visitor from your country. The guy runs a farm called Tonga Farms, I think, one of the large. Maybe I'm not pronouncing the name, but it's one of the largest farms there. And he said to me, President Adesina, you need to understand this. When we got land titles for the BPA's farmers, it means that our title before, on our balance sheet, the value of the land was zero, because there was no title. But today, because we have title, it means that the value of the land is so high. And that is why they are going to be able to raise maybe $8-9 billion as a country. So it's taking a lot of courage, a lot of work.
The European Union, another significant creditor, highlighted the huge steps in terms of reforms adopted by the Second Republic as a foundation to trust this crucial process.
We are moving forward. And I think that's very important. So out of the 16 indicators, I would like outline one, which is public procurement, where I think you have increased by a factor of 300% the score. And I would like that we applaud the government for that.
Dialogue facilitator former Mozambican President Joaquim Chissano acknowledged the importance of Zimbabwe as a key player in international affairs.
Zimbabwe is a country which matters when we speak about Southern Africa. So we, particularly in Mozambique, we know that stability of Southern Africa requires a stable and prosperous Zimbabwe.
Meanwhile, outgoing ADB President Akinwumi Adesina pledged to focus on completing this crucial task as he leaves office this Thursday, when elections to choose his successor are conducted in a crowded field of candidates that include Zambia's World Bank Vice President Dr. Sam Maimbo, whose candidature was endorsed by the Southern Africa Development Community. Owen Mandova, ZBC News.
The government and Zesa Holdings are working on restoring Wang Thermal Power Station Unit 5 in a bid to bring it back to the national grid. The move is expected to improve availability of power for both domestic and industrial needs.
Wang Unit 5, which has been offline for some years, is set to be restored, and with a total output of 185 megawatts, the development will be critical for the thermal powered station, which is the backbone of national electricity generation. Government says the project is expected to be complete early next year once all the necessary logistics are put in place. Equipment procuring has already started, with some critical components now on site.
Unit 5, which has been disabled since 2021, and they are making progress in rehabilitating and fixing it. So Wang is very important. We are going to be using coal for a long time as Zimbabwe because we have it in abundance.
Wang Thermal Power Station has undergone major transformation under the Second Republic after the commissioning of Unit 7 and 8, generating a combined 600 megawatts, setting the country on a pedestal towards energy self-sufficiency. Mshomeli Ncube, ZBC News, Wang.
Well, the government says it will be stepping in to ensure the construction of new dormitories at Churchill Boys High School after a devastating fire destroyed hostels at the learning facility on Monday.
Following the fire that engulfed a hostel at Churchill Boys High School in Harare on Monday, officials from the Ministry of Primary and Secondary Education, led by its Minister Honorable Torerai Moyo, visited the school to assess the damage.
6 hostels were destroyed and 54 students lost virtually almost everything. and we have to be back on the ground. We have to be back on our feet. The officers from Ministry of Education were here, and they recommended that this building has to be destroyed completely because it was established in 1950. We have to remove it and put on a double-story building for the Form 1s and Form 2s. Maybe state-of-the-art is the way to go.
The team also comprised the ZANU-PF Harare Province Women's League Deputy Secretary for Education, Comrade Lois Magweva, who emphasized the importance of community solidarity in times of crisis, pledging the league's commitment to assisting the school in its recovery efforts.
It's a plea to the corporate world that you industry people, you can see what we are now facing in our constituents. Can you please extend your hand as social corporate responsibility? Let's not wait for tomorrow. Let's do it now. Taking into consideration that we are quarter covering the term. It's not even half. We don't want to make our children get impacted negatively, because the Churchill, everyone knows, they groom statesmen. So these are our statements for tomorrow.
After assessing the extent of the damage, government is stepping in to support the construction of new structures at the school.
As government, we are going to support the school. We are going to apply to Ministry of Finance for funding. And I want to believe that we, in a very short space of time, we are going to provide resources so that we construct new dormitories on a new site, so that we are going to assist the school, especially the students who have been affected.
The destruction affected 54 Form 1 and 2 pupils with all their belongings, including blankets, clothes, school uniforms, and other valuables, reduced to ashes. Currently, the affected learners are being temporarily housed in the senior students' quarters as they await the necessary interventions. Peter Chivima, ZBC News, Harare.
The recent removal of 4 individuals and an entity from the sanctions list by the United Kingdom after similar moves by the European Union has been described as a breakthrough for Zimbabwe's sustained engagement and re-engagement agenda.
The recent decision by the United Kingdom to remove 4 individuals and an entity, the Zimbabwe Defense Industries, from its sanctions list has been hailed as a diplomatic victory characterized by continuous engagement with international partners. The individuals include Midlands Minister of State for Provincial Affairs and Devolution, Honorable Wang, former Director General of the Central Intelligence Organization, Ambassador Isaac Moyo, former Police Commissioner General Godwin Matanga, and the Minister of Sport, Recreation, Arts and Culture, Lieutenant General retired Anselm Sanyatwe. Analysts suggest this signifies a pragmatic recalibration of foreign policy by Western nations towards Zimbabwe, while acknowledging the evolving geopolitical landscape as a push factor.
I want to believe that also there's been a lot of diplomatic efforts that have seen us this far, but it is also important to also note that I think America is also feeling the heat of its realism notion kind of politics in the geopolitical arena. You would understand that we are shifting from a unipolar kind of politics system to a multi very competitive kind of system.
The move has also been viewed as a plus to Zimbabwe diplomatic offensive with calls for the nullification of the remainder.
When it comes to relationships with the international community, you realize that we really need that move, because we cannot function in vacuum, and the government really needs partners from all over the world, so that we can have development or projects that are supported by different countries.
We are hoping that probably going forward we are not going to have about 1, 2, 3, 4 entities. We just need a total removal of these illegal sanctions.
Relations with the EU and UK have been mending of late in various facets, with the Chevron's recent tour of the UK after 2 decades standing as an example. While the delisting marks a significant milestone, experts believe that it is part of an ongoing process where continued reforms and engagement will lead to the removal of the remaining citizens under the Global Magnitsky Act of 2016.
Now, for these and more stories, be sure to check out our website. That's www.zbc.co.zw. You can also subscribe and watch the news live on our YouTube page. That's at ZBC News Online. We're also available on X as well as on Facebook with the same handle at ZBC News Online.
And we're off to a break, but here's what you can look forward to on this bulletin. Courtney Jongwe making it to the top 20 of Miss World Multimedia Challenge in India. We'll be finding out how things are panning out there. And in sport, Warriors captain Marvelous Nakamba speaking following the announcement of the squad to take part at the 2025 COSAFA Cup. We'll bring that to you as well. Be sure to join us after the break.
Are you a dynamic and enterprising woman running a small business? Whether you're involved in horticulture, fashion design, visual arts, confectionery, the beauty industry, catering and food services, event decor, poultry farming, goat projects, cross-border trading, or small-scale retailing, this is your moment. Join us from the 6th to the 8th of June at Harare Gardens for the inaugural Women's Market Galore. Showcase your business at this groundbreaking event hosted by Empowerment Champion, the First Lady, Dr. Auxilia Mnangagwa. Admission is free and you are all invited to come. For registration and inquiries, please contact 0719 527 703 or 0778 858-056. Please note that this program will be extended to all provinces across the country on dates to be announced. Empowering women means empowering the nation. Don't miss this opportunity to shine.
The Ministry of Women Affairs, Community, Small and Medium Enterprises Development invites you to the national launch of the International Day of Families. This year's theme, Family-Oriented Policies for Sustainable Development towards the Second World Summit for Social Development, underscores the profound role families play in achieving sustainable development. The ministry invites all stakeholders to collaborate on formulating inclusive family-centered policies, strengthening family support systems, and expanding access to social services and economic opportunities. This year's national launch will be held on the 29th of May 2025 at White City Stadium in Bulawayo Metropolitan Province. Zimbabweans from all walks of life are invited to attend the national launch and participate in activities focused on the development and protection of families. Ministry of Women Affairs, Community, Small and Medium Enterprises Development. For socially and economically empowered women and resilient communities enjoying gender equality in an MSMEs-driven economy by 2030.
Stuck on you. Ooh, obsessed with you. I'm obsessed.
With Showmax, your favorite characters now follow you anywhere. Download it today and watch the best in local, international, and everything in between.
Atlas Convention 2025 Global Edition, themed Investing in Africa's Prosperity, will be held in Victoria Falls. Experts from plus 133 countries will gather at this landmark event to explore transnational trade, investment opportunities, academic research insights, and bankable high-impact innovations for Africa. From the business of our bustling cities to the melting pot of African adventure safari.
Bungee jump Victoria Falls.
Take a deep dive into a unique blend of adventure experience, diverse cultures, untouched wildlife, and spectacular nature across Zimbabwe, Zambia, and Botswana. Heads of state and government, private and public sector executives, R&D experts, thought leaders, the academia, transformation strategists, and investors will converge to explore unique opportunities and forge partnerships for path-breaking sustainable initiatives that will drive a competitive, modernized, and industrialized Africa. Register today on www.atlasconvention.com. Atlas Convention, bringing African opportunities to the global stage.
Welcome back. You are still watching the main news. Now, the African Union Commission, in collaboration with African Ministers' Council on Water, is convening the third Africa Implementation and Partnership Conference on Water in Lusaka, Zambia. Now, this brings together key stakeholders to shape the future of water and sanitation on the continent. Memory Chamisa has more.
Water is a constitutional right. That is the consensus among delegates who are tasked to coming up with unwavering commitments to transform water and sanitation among African countries.
The deliberations in Lusaka come at a time when African nations, including Zimbabwe, are facing increasing water-related challenges due to climate change, rapid urbanization, and growing population. The Zimbabwe delegation, led by the Minister of Lands, Agriculture, Fisheries, Water and Rural Development, Dr. Anxious Masuka, has since seized the opportunity to meet with one of the financiers, the African Development Bank, to forge areas of cooperation in WASH programs in Zimbabwe.
And we had a very productive meeting with the AFDB in this regard to try and resuscitate some of the stalled projects in Zimbabwe, but more importantly, to look at the business units as an investment case and to get the catalytic financing to enable us to transform rural communities for the water provision, but also water as an economic enabler.
African Development Bank Principal Monitoring, Evaluation and Project Portfolio Management Expert, Ms. Helen Njiwa, highlighted some of the key areas they look forward to partner with Zimbabwe.
So as a bank, we agreed with them on the possible financing mechanism that are eligible for, and one of them being the Africa Water Facility, where we help them to develop some feasibility studies, to come up with designs and a proper plan on how the bank can invest in Zimbabwe. Number two, we have also agreed with them on the technical assistance support, where they would be able to submit some concept notes to us to be able to revamp or update their water policy framework.
The next 3 days will see delegates, ministers and stakeholders deliberating on some of the key issues on water management, financing and closing the gap between urban and rural communities. Memory Chamisa, ZBC News, Lusaka.
And that story takes us straight to our Montrose studios where Marilyn Gwenya is on standby. Good evening, Marilyn.
Good evening and many thanks to you, Terero and Butler. In our following report, in line with the Second Republic's decentralization agenda, this year's International Families Day national launch will be held at White City Stadium in Bulawayo this Thursday.
We have come to Bulawayo Metropolitan Province. We are doing this in the spirit of devolution and decentralization. As you are aware, most of these national events used to happen in the capital city of Harare, but the Second Republic, under the astute leadership of President Dr. E.D. Mnangagwa, is making all the ministries understand the importance of making sure we decentralize. Everybody is important. The family unit, which is the building block of any community, is the most basic subunit upon which communities and nations are built. It is through the family unit that community members are socialized, trained and equipped to be more modern citizens, to be model citizens and play their role in the development of our nation.
Entrepreneurs at Bulawayo's oldest marketplace, Makokoba Market, are tapping into the available opportunities created by the mining and agricultural sectors to remain viable.
From old tires to feeding troughs and mining equipment, popularly known as bungas, such is the story of entrepreneurs at Bulawayo's oldest market in Makokoba suburb who are making a living from both mining and agriculture. The entrepreneurs have seen an opportunity to be a constant supplier of raw materials in the two critical sectors.
Safundela khonapha sonke imisebenzi. Sawufunda sisebenza ngezandla. Into eziningi isikhathi esiningi abantu abasifundisayo umsebenzi. Basitshela ukuthi kade sifuna lisenzele lokho. Senza so lenze sithukela khona lapho.
Sathengisa inkukhu, amarabha lokho. Esithengisela abantu bezimayini. Isifiso sethu sokuthi singathuthukiswa ukuthi xa singathola abantu abangasponsor ngemali ukuthi sibe kwazi ukuthi indawo ethi leyi siyenze ibe nkulu ihlanzeke futhi.
Isikhathi esiningi siyawodwa inkukhu zethu sifake la esikhala ngakho sibili ngabantu ababenje abantu abalama restaurant abangathini futhi lakho ukuthi likhulu alibakhuthaza ukuthi hambani emkambo into eziningi zitholakala emkambo. Intsha eningi vele ayila umsebenzi wona lo wezandla njengoba liyabona amahanisi into zonke lezi ezenziwa la akulanto zesikolo phakathi yokuthatha izandla zakho khandi.
With new designs, entrepreneurs believe the capacitation with the new equipment to match the existing technology will provide a new lifeline and increase production.
Silento ze agriculture njengoba lezibona silwe kwe mining amabhunga sibe le poultry inkukhu esizodwa sothengisa khona apha yiyo indlela esisebenza ngayo nje. But siyazidesignela izinto zonke lezi sizenze ngendlela lesebenzayo but at the same time abantu bazemukela bazisebenzisa.
The SMEs are a key sector of the economy and government is moving with speed to capacitate the sector through the provision of financial support and decent workspaces.
Traditional leaders have raised concern over the rise of non-compliant businesses in rural business centers that are involved in drug peddling, calling for stiffer penalties on culprits.
Intoxicated young and old men mushrooming shebeens in rural communities and non-compliant businesses operating beyond their stipulated timelines are now a common sight in communities that used to be a reservoir of the moral compass and traditional leaders are concerned. As such, villagers in rural Gwanda and in Sisa are calling on the rural district councils to enforce laws to deter businesses from becoming the conduit of dangerous drugs and substances that have become the threat to communities' well-being.
Izitolo zethu sezi-operator njengamashapini sezivula 24 hours. Simanga okwinto lokho kokuqhubeka usiya phambili. Akula bhawa lapha evara ngo8. Bathaka kuze kuse. Ngikhona le talile mle iready khala lapha ngize ngivuke khona le. Ukuthi kade kuyenzakalani? Ngani bengavali ngesikhathi. Amanye amashop athengisa igrocery, athengisa lonjengo. Kodwa igrocery. So ugcina kusenza ukuthi utshwala sobu all over. Also kusenza ukuthi vele akusacontroleki ungazi uthini. Indaba yakhona vele isizimo kungayenziwa.
Spearheading the campaign Not in My Village, together with the National AIDS Council, the traditional leadership is rallying communities to take a proactive approach in the fight against drug and substance abuse among youths.
Kulabantu asebene mashapini emakhaya. Akula ngitsho lo muntu oyedwa ovumela ukuthengisa utshwala engala license. So abantwana laba abancane nxa sibayekela benathi utshwala asoze sizuza abakhwenyana, asoze sizuza abazukulu, asoze sizuza abantu, thina izinto siyabusana.
Lani badala yekelana ukuqhubelana labantwana izikale ebhawo. Yekelana ukuqhubelana labantwana izikale ebhawo. Yikho sebelidelela belibiza ngabodalo. Ngoba yabe kwazi vele natha ngizala unathisa lo mdala lo yana usasa. Uza kunathisa. Nxa selecala awusamthonisisi. Sucabanga ukuthi asaphinde imbunathu utshwala.
Traditional leaders in Matebeleland South are also taking a proactive approach in the fight against the HIV prevalence rate, child sexual exploitation, teenage pregnancies, and school dropouts. Providence Maranelli, ZBC News, Gwanda.
Manicaland is optimistic of surpassing its target of 13,000 hectares of winter wheat this season, with the province currently rounding up the planting period. And on that note, it's back to the team at Pocket Hill Studios in Harare for more news. And of course, Tarero is on standby.
Thank you very much for those updates, Marilyn. Now, more than 50 research papers are being presented at the second Agriculture Research and Extension Symposium underway in Harare. The aim is to develop research-based technologies that can transform the agricultural sector, and we get the details in the next report. Now, we'll give you the details perhaps a little bit later. The government, through the Japanese International Cooperation Agency, has empowered thousands of smallholder farmers to venture into market-driven horticulture projects to generate sustainable income for their livelihoods.
The Zimbabwe Smallholder Empowerment Program, dubbed Shape and Bank Road by Japanese International Cooperation Agency JICA, was a 5-year plan which saw government and JICA representatives expressing satisfaction over its implementation at a signing ceremony to mark the end of the program held in Harare this Wednesday.
This project really successful to giving the farmers, smallholder farmers, to increase incomes opportunity, but it is successful. But most importantly, the Ministries of Agriculture, Government of Zimbabwe, is the one who has ownership and commitment to introduce approach to all over the country, and they are very much confident and to introduce this approach in collaboration with not only JICA but other development partners.
Under smallholder market-oriented horticulture, the transfer of technical expertise on growing a strategic cash crop with a red market is paramount.
What is important is the impact that this project has had on lives. What is important is the entrepreneurship that has now been inculcated in our farmers. What is important is to note that these very farmers are now able to send their kids to school using proceeds from agriculture.
At the signing ceremony to mark the end of the JICA Smallholder Empowerment Program attracted stakeholders who concurred on the need to incorporate market-driven extension approach into the whole of government food security and rural transformation strategy. Tendai Munengwa, ZBC News, Harare.
Well, the third National Education Conference and Expo kicked off in Harare today, on Wednesday, calling for collaborations between government and the private sector to transform Zimbabwe's education system.
The conference and expo has brought together key stakeholders from government and the private sectors to revolutionize Zimbabwe's education landscape. Collaborations are being cited as key in promoting educational transformation, fostering innovation and creativity.
We started Elevate Trust so that we approach all the other players in the private sector to contribute to the change that we want to see. We run the program Science Kumusha Emakaya, which has reached over 10,000 girls, where we go and we engage the community leaders. It should not only be about theory and finishing the curriculum. We make sure that we have extra curriculum activities that we introduce in schools.
As UNICAF, we are proud to be associated with this conference. It gives us a platform to interact with all the relevant ministries as well as different organizations and schools that are interested in the development of education.
Today, we are discussing issues around infrastructure development for the education sector. It's today's Indaba, which will run for the next 3 days. These are issues which we will be interrogating to say, in partnership with the private sector, with the financial institutions, how do we get financing?
The conference is expected to come up with recommendations on shaping policy, infrastructure development, education financing, and promoting innovation, among others.
We now bring you that story where the government, through the Japanese International Cooperation Agency, has empowered thousands of smallholder farmers to venture into market-driven horticultural projects to generate sustainable income for their livelihoods.
The second Agriculture Research and Extension Symposium has kicked off in Harare as research experts come together to exchange ideas and present abstracts critical in unearthing research-based technologies critical for transforming Zimbabwe's agricultural sector.
The overarching issue is about the development of technologies for transformative agricultural development. So by transformation, we mean that our technologies have got to respond to the key issues such as climate change, low soil fertility, as well as increasing productivity and resilience of the agricultural sector.
The nexus between innovation and agricultural research is also under spotlight as stakeholders address challenges faced by farmers through innovation.
We need to increase research and improve our capacity to innovate so that we can increase agricultural productivity. As you know, I come from higher education, but I spent 10 years in agricultural research. And a lot of what we also do in higher education is about how do we improve productivity for the farmers.
Agricultural research and extension services have since been devolved to districts and provinces across the country to ensure best agronomic practices.
We are promoting fruit tree production and we want them to plant at least 10 trees per household. So as a research station, we have the resources and the germplasm that is resilient for the southeastern areas with low rainfalls and high temperatures.
Running under the theme Transformative Agricultural Technologies, Accelerating the Attainment of Vision 2030, the symposium is focusing on various thematic areas that include crop breeding, agronomy, soil fertility management, agroecology, irrigation technologies, among others. John Nandara, ZBC News, Harare.
And that report from John Nandara takes us to another break. When we come back, we'll look at the arts and then sport.
Create big moments with the fam. Get the KFC Family Fiesta. That's 6 pieces of chicken, 4 zinger wings, 2 mashing gravies, and large chip.
It's time for the main event. This is incredible. He has written it, and the dream lives on. I cannot believe it!
Stay connected to DSTV this April and May and get all the football finals you want.
Steelmate Investments is Zimbabwe's leading supplier of steel and roofing sheets. In Harare, we have 4 branches. One in Willowvale along Affirmative Way and another in Glen Eagles Road. The other 2 are in Barimagaba. We have high-quality roofing sheets, barbed wire, long plates, mesh wire, beams, mining bars, and many more products according to your needs and specifications. Visit us today at stand number 706 Glen Eagles Road in Harare. Call us on 0787 001 643 up to 6. Our Affirmative branch is at number 346 Affirmative Way in Willowvale. Call us on 0788 930 556 up to 61. Our Mbare branches are at gate number 8 at CSO. Call that branch on 0788 930 550 up to 2. And our Mbare Discount Steel branch is at number 1 Easterman's Place, Magaba. Call that branch on 0788 930 553 up to 5. Steelmate Investments, your friend in steel.
Welcome to a new era in tobacco farm. The Tobacco Industry and Marketing Board, TIMB, has rolled out the biometric grower management system to protect every genuine tobacco grower. With this innovative technology, only you can verify your identity for account adjustments, input collection, stop orders, and insurance. You also get support and payments without delays. Biometrics offer you security, efficiency, and transparency. Why wait? Visit the nearest TIMB office now with your national ID. We will capture your fingerprints and link them to your grower number. You can also register at tobacco selling points as you sell your tobacco. It's fast and it's easy. We guarantee that your biometric data is protected and will only be used to improve the tobacco industry database and process embassies. Our offices are in Harare, Butare, Lusaka, Murandera, Bandura, Karoi, Buvulu, and Chimbui. Visit the office nearest to you, get your fingerprints captured, and secure a thriving future for the tobacco industry. Register your fingerprints. Secure your future. Grow with confidence.
Welcome back. You're still on the main news. To the arts now. 23-year-old beauty Courtney Jongwe, who's representing Zimbabwe at the Miss World competition in India, has made it into the top 20 Miss World Multimedia Challenge.
Zimbabwe's representative at the 72nd Miss World pageant has secured a spot among the top 20 finalists in the prestigious Multimedia Challenge. Courtney, who is one of the 5 standout contestants from the African continent, has been praised for her creativity, consistency, and the inspiring use of her digital platforms throughout the competition. With the Miss World finals set for this Sunday, the Multimedia Challenge is an integral part of the Miss World Festival, as it rewards contestants who effectively leverage social media to share meaningful stories, promote positive messaging, and document their personal journeys and social causes. In a post on their social media page, the Miss World organizers highlighted that throughout the competition, judges closely monitor the digital footprints of contestants from their preparations at home to their engagements during the cultural and charitable activities in India. The selection process for the Multimedia Challenge was highly competitive, with only 5 contestants chosen from each continental group, making Jongwe's achievement a significant milestone for Zimbabwe. The 20 Multimedia Challenge finalists from around the world now face one last test to produce a final video chronicling their full Miss World journey. In this final phase, they will act as reporters, using their storytelling skills to reflect on their experience and the impact they hope to make beyond the pageant. The challenge is among the final competitions, heralding the final contest Sunday afternoon, where more than 100 beauty queens who compete for the Miss World title. Patience Nyagato, SABC News.
Well, all the best to our queen there. We take a break, but when we come back, Lawrence will be giving us the sport. Stay tuned.
In the month of July 2025, the world will gather at one of nature's greatest wonders, Victoria Falls, Zimbabwe. From the 23rd to the 31st of July 2025, Zimbabwe will proudly host the 15th meeting of the Conference of the Contracting Parties to the Convention on Wetlands, COP15. This is more than a conference, it's a call to action, running under the theme Protecting Wetlands for Our Common Future. COP15 will unite 173 nations to address pressing issues: wise use of wetlands, biodiversity loss, climate change, and sustainable development. Together, we will explore innovative solutions, strengthen global commitments, and ensure wetlands remain vital for the current generation and those to come. Join us in shaping a sustainable future. COP15, Victoria Falls, Zimbabwe, July 23rd to 31st. Protecting wetlands for our common future starts here. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Environment, Climate and Wildlife.
Good evening once again, and thank you so much for joining us on our sports news this evening. My name is Lawrence Trusida. We start off with football news, where Warriors captain Marvelous Nakamba has challenged youngsters selected to represent the country at the upcoming COSAFA Cup to use the opportunity to launch their international careers.
Zimbabwe selected a young squad with an average age of 21 to take part at this year's COSAFA Cup, which kicks off in Bloemfontein on the 4th of next month. Young Warriors coach Simon Marange will take charge of the team that has been assembled with one eye on the 2028 Olympic qualifiers set to start next year. Warriors captain Marvelous Nakamba believes the tournament offers an opportunity for youngsters to showcase their talent.
It's an encouragement for them to give everything, to fight for their careers and to fight for the country. And for me personally, I think COSAFA, it gives hope. Like mostly it's always like local players like who go there and get a chance, so that's when you can showcase yourself and also competing with other countries.
The young squad will be captained by defender Andrew Mbeba, while Mo's goalkeeper Martin Mapisa will be his deputy. Youthful stars such as Prosper Pandera, Mafia Stewart and Kurashim Sani, among others, will get a chance to showcase their skills, while rising stars like Junior Makunike, Tanwele Nkosingwenya and Alan Chapinduka will be looking to knock on the senior national team door. The tournament was first played in 1997, with Zambia having claimed a record 7 titles, to go with the 6 for Zimbabwe, 5 for South Africa, 4 for defending champions Angola and 1 for Namibia. However, Zimbabwe have won the most games at the tournament and have the best win percentage, having claimed a victory in 57% of their games, ahead of South Africa's 52% and Zambia's 49%. The Warriors, who are in Group A together with the host South Africa, Mauritius and Mozambique, kick off the tournament next week with the date against the Islanders, Mauritius, at the Toyota Stadium in Bloemfontein.
We certainly hope that the youngsters are selected who definitely live to the name of the Warriors. Staying with football news, the stage is set for a thrilling encounter between log leaders Moors as they take on Force Scotland in a Castle Premier Soccer League match set for Ngoni Stadium this Saturday.
The two teams have a rich history, having battled it out in the Northern Region Division 1 League last season, with Scotland eventually emerging as champions and earning promotion to the top flight. On the other hand, Moors took a more unconventional route to the Premiership, buying a franchise from ZPC Wang to secure a spot in the Elite League. Despite their different paths to the top tier, both the teams have shown impressive form this season, with the Moors maintaining an unbeaten run and sitting atop the league table with 7 wins and 6 draws. Meanwhile, Scotland is almost at par, boasting 6 wins, 5 draws and just a single loss, which puts them in third position with 23 points. However, they have a crucial match hanging in the balance, having had their fixture against the Chicken Inn abandoned. The stakes are high, and the rivalry between these two teams is set to intensify as they clash this Sunday. The two teams have a history of intense competition, with the Scotland winning their first encounter 2-0 and then drawing 1-0 in the reverse fixture last year when they were still in the Northern Region Division 1 League. Will Moors be able to maintain the unbeaten run, or will Scotland's flamboyant style cause an upsurge? Scotland fans, affectionately known as Maviravira, are eagerly anticipating the match against the Panthers, and the atmosphere at Ngoni Stadium is expected to be electric. Anna Shembrombedzi, ZBC News, Harare.
So much anticipation ahead of the battle of the newbies before the battle of Zimbabwe takes center stage a day after. Moving on, Gokwe's Chezia High School student Alen Tungamirai hoisted the national flag high after coming second at the International Chess Championship held in Mombasa, Kenya. The Chezia High School student came second after South Africa's Sojay Shora, while fellow countryman Jan Wellam settled for third position. Zimbabwe sent in a contingent of 14 chess players, and Tungamirai's performance was the best, while 2 others narrowly missed the podium, with them coming 5th and 6th respectively. So yeah, good coming through from the project there from Chezia High School. Every year they produce an international star, and on that star, it's a wrap for sports news. It's now time for the weather update.
Thank you for joining us. It is time for your evening weather update. My name is Benjamin Kwaramba. I hope I find you well. Well, cool and windy conditions with scattered cloud in most areas this morning, while Chirezi reported some brief cloudy periods. However, by afternoon, most areas were under partly cloudy and warm conditions. Cold conditions expected to set in this evening. In the satellite images received by Southern Shore, mostly clear skies, those areas to the south, while areas to the north yet some scattered cloud from time to time. And we expect more clearing of the skies as we move into the week ahead. Therefore, we expect a slight ground frost, particularly those areas that lie along the central watershed. Now, for the minimum temperatures that are expected tomorrow, we expect Harare to have 10 degrees Celsius, while Bulawayo should have 9, and Gweru as well. Therefore, we expect slight ground frost in those areas. Kariba 16, Victoria Falls 12, Gwanda 10, Mutare 9 degrees Celsius. For the maximum temperatures expected, the capital city, Harare, 23 degrees Celsius, same for Bulawayo, Chirezi with 27, Mutare 24 there, Kariba 29, Victoria Falls 27, same for Lupane. For the detailed forecast in the week ahead, plenty of sunshine expected over Bulawayo, but cold at first, becoming mild to warm later. Same for Matopos, plenty of sunshine expected in the week ahead. Windy conditions into Wednesday next week. Gwanda, again, plenty of sunshine expected with cold morning conditions. Same for Gweru, slight ground frost expected over Gweru. Same for Masvingo. Again, maximum temperatures should play between 23 and 25 degrees Celsius. Nyanga, expect slight to moderate ground frost. And Marondera, same again, very cold mornings, becoming mild to warm later in the afternoon. Harare, again, plenty of sunshine expected with your maximum temperatures in the 20s. Kwekwe, plenty of sunshine again, same for Kadoma. Chinoi, again, plenty of sunshine, cold at first, becoming mild to warm later. Same for Victoria Falls, where we expect your maximum temperatures to be at least in the upper 20s. Lupane, slight ground frost expected, cold at first in the morning, becoming mild to warm later. Same for Bindura, plenty of sunshine expected over Bindura. Same for Kariba. Well, that does it in tonight's edition of the weather report and forecast. Let's make a date again tomorrow at the same time. It's back to the main desk.
Thanks a lot to Benjamin Kwaramba there with tonight's weather report and forecast. And that brings us to the end of the main news. Be sure to join us again tomorrow. Good night.
Good night.